Hey, it's Russ from Pilates Guy, and today I'm going to talk to you about a little, well, I'm not going to talk to you too much about it, I'm going to show you a little hip release routine, just to loosen up the hips a bit if you have got tight hips. And what I would say is if you've got tight hips, yeah, okay, you may need to loosen them up, mobilise, stretch a little bit, but an overall approach is probably best. Normally when you've got one thing that's tight, like tight hamstrings or something like that, it isn't necessarily just that you need to stretch out your hamstrings. There's normally other stuff going on. So it's good to take an overall approach. Obviously, the best way to do that is going to be doing Pilates. And without being biased, also yoga can be really good depending on what you've got going on. But just taking that all over approach of mobilising, stretching and strengthening, balancing out the body is really important. So there isn't ever just going to be, I've got tight hips, I'll stretch my hips. I've got tight hamstrings, I just need to stretch my hamstrings. There's normally a bit more to it. But having said that, when you are tight and you do need a bit of relief from that, or just to loosen up a little bit, then it is good to obviously stretch those areas. So little routine now, should take about 10 minutes. And we'll just get the hips stretched, mobilised. And this is one, pretty much most of these exercises I use daily. So I've got various issues with my body from surgeries and injuries and things like that. So we'll work through it, and yeah, hopefully at the end of this, your hips will feel a little bit better. So we'll get started on our backs and bring ourselves down to the mat. And we're going to combine some dynamic and static stretching. So we'll use a little bit of dynamism in some of the stretches, and then some holds as well. So the first one we're going to do is take our left heel to our right knee. And then we're just going to start to pulse gently with the fingertips that left knee. We'll do about 12 pulses, just pushing that knee into that resistance for a second or two, or just like a second, just easing into that around about 12 times. And after that 12th repetition of just gently pushing into that resistance, we're going to hold there. And you can just hold and gradually keep breathing as you hold for probably another 10, 15, even 20 seconds. Just gradually, gently applying a bit more pressure with that knee, pushing it away slightly, opening up the hips. Keep breathing as you do this. When you breathe out, it does help release off the muscles. And when you've done about 15, 20, even up to 30 seconds hold, you're just going to release, swap the legs over, take the right heel to left knee, and we're back to our pulses. So we're going to pulse, just pushing gently into that tension and then releasing. Again, about 12 of these, just easing into that tension and releasing. And once you've done those 12, you're just going to hold into that tension, anything from 10 to 30 seconds, just easing into that, encouraging that knee out a little bit as you're breathing. Obviously, if you've got any specific injuries or anything like that, this is not advice for specific injuries. We're just looking at loosening up these hips a little bit. Just breathing with every out breath, the muscles just relax more and more, so you can just stretch a little more and more. And when we've done about 20, maybe 30 seconds here, we're just going to release. And then we're going to bring ourselves into a figure four. So we're going left heel back to right knee, and then we're going to take that right leg off the floor, bringing that in towards you. Now you can keep your upper body down on the floor like I'm doing here, or you can lift your upper body, whatever you prefer. We just want to make sure this foot doesn't drop below the knee. We want to keep it in line with the knee, or even take the leg straight if you like. And we're just going to bring this leg in towards us. Keep breathing with this as you gradually encourage that leg in closer and closer. You can again do a few pulses, very gentle pulses, maybe around 12. And then when you've done about 12 pulses, you're just going to hold that leg in. Keep breathing. Every out breath helps relax those muscles. So just breathing in and out. And as you breathe out, just try and squeeze that leg in a little bit more. Again, anything from 10 to 30 seconds. Hold in that figure four stretch. And then we can just release that down. We'll do that on the other side. So we'll cross that right heel to left knee. We'll reach through, grab that thigh, bringing the leg off the floor. Again, upper body can lift if you want, or you can stay down. Just make sure that leg is either lengthened or anywhere in between, or foot in line with the knee, but just not dropping lower. And we're just going to pulse, gently bring it in towards. This is a good stretch for the hips, all the way around the hip. You'll feel that 360-degree stretch around your hip, around your thigh there. Bringing that in towards you, breathing all the time. Once you've done about 12 sort of gentle pulses, we'll just hold for our 10 to whatever, 15, 20, 25, 30 seconds, whatever feels good for you. Entirely up to you. As you progress, as you feel better in this, you can hold for longer. After those pulses, we just want to hold for a little while, increasing the pressure gradually. And then we'll release there. So the next we're going to do a knee pull. So we are crossing the legs over again. So we'll take the left leg over the right knee. And we just want to grab hold of that knee. And we're going to start to pull this knee in towards us. So we'll do our pulses, just pulling that knee towards opposite shoulders. This is my left knee towards the right shoulder. We're just doing, you're just almost peeling the glute ever so slightly off the floor as you're pulling this in for about those 12 repetitions, 12 pulses. And once you've done that 12-ish, just hold the knee in and just gently bring that knee in towards you. And you are trying to relax the muscles you're stretching as much as you can. Bringing that leg in towards you, breathing. For every out breath, just trying to stretch off that a little bit more. So 10 to 30 seconds hold, and we release. We'll swap the other leg over. We'll start with our 12 pulses. So the same on this side, just pulling that knee across. You feel your glutes just lifting a little bit here each time. You feel that stretch through the side of the hip, into the glute, certainly around the hip. Just pulling into that tension for like a second and then releasing. And after that 12 pulses, we hold, we breathe, we relax. Everything as much as we can as we're pulling that leg in towards us, gradually increasing that pressure, that stretch through the hips. And then when we've done our 10 to 30 seconds, we'll release that and relax. We're going to take one leg straight. We're going to pull one knee in towards us. We don't want this lower back arching or anything. And we're just going to pull this knee in towards us gently. And then once you've got a bit of tension, you've got that knee pulling in, what we're going to do is just open out to one side. We're just going to take this knee out to one side until you feel a stretch on the inside of the thigh. Now do keep pulling the knee gently up towards you, just as far as you're comfortable, while encouraging that knee down towards the floor, feeling that stretch on the inside of the leg. The hand is there to support you, but it's also there to apply a little bit of encouragement for that knee to come down towards the floor. You're keeping your opposite leg, opposite glute, back, shoulder, everything on the mat. No other part of your body is lifting or moving. We're just opening up. I'm not pulsing this one. I'm just holding and gradually relaxing out for anything again, 15, 20, 30 seconds. We're going to come across the body after that period of time. We're going to swap hands. And we're going to pull that knee across the body now. And your bum cheek on the opposite side is going to lift, but we want the shoulders to stay down. So you can take that arm over. And we're just encouraging this knee over towards the floor, feeling that stretch on the outside of the hips. If you're feeling this more in the back, you can just encourage that knee up towards your chest a little bit more and then down towards the floor. And you should feel like a little more of that stretch is coming into the side of your hips here. Head going the opposite way. Make it a bit more comfortable, keeping those shoulders down. We can pulse into this one if we like for around 12 pulses. And then once you've done those 12, you're just holding again, breathing and relaxing that knee down for your 10 to 30 seconds, however long you want it to hold in that stretch for. You'll get a stretch through the back as well. Always be careful of your back with this stretch though. If it feels painful at all, then don't do it. We'll do that on the other side. So you bring that knee in, straightening that leg, you bring this knee in, nice tight stretch, pulling that in towards you for a few seconds. And then once you've eased into that stretch a little bit, we'll open up to one side. Your bum staying firmly on the mat, back on the mat. The arm can go the opposite way to just counterbalance a little bit, keeping those shoulders down. And we're just encouraging that knee down towards the mat. The extra intensity, you can pull that knee up towards you a little bit more, towards the chest. But really the hand is on the knee to encourage towards the mat bit by bit, or to support if you've got any injuries or anything you're a bit worried about. Breathing all the time, remember, relaxing all the time. And we'll just hold here, gently increasing that stretch for our 10 to 30 seconds. Bring it back to the middle, we'll swap hands, we'll take this across the body, arm going the opposite direction, head going the opposite direction, and we're just encouraging this knee down towards the floor. Breathing, relaxing the knee down, feeling that stretch on the outside of the hips here. If you need to bring that knee in a bit closer to your chest to increase the stretch on the hip, just give it a little pull in with that hand as you encourage the knee towards the floor. You can pulse, as I mentioned, so you can do your 12 pulses here, if your back feels okay at least, and then you can hold for your 10 to 30, just easing into that, breathing all the time. And then we'll bring ourselves back to the middle. We'll bring ourselves up to a seated position, and then we're going to go into a couple of options of pigeon stretch depending on how you're feeling. So first option is to get 90 degrees in each leg, 90 degrees with the leg in front, 90 degrees with the leg behind, and we're just going to take ourselves down to forearms over this leg, and we can pulse into this, just feeling that stretch through this hip of the leg, the front leg, just feeling that stretch. You can pulse here and then hold. If you want to make this one more intense though, so you do your 12 pulses and then hold. If you want to make this one more intense, you can go into a very yoga-esque pigeon, which is where you take that back leg straight. You can tuck your toes if you want and lift the knee to make it more intense, or you can just relax the knee and foot down. You want that knee in front of you. You want the foot a little away from you, but not too far. Hips facing forward, shoulders facing forward, and we're just sitting tall. You can rock side to side in this one as well. This is a really nice release into the back and the hip. You just want to do about 12 of those again, and about 10 to 30 second holds, whichever option you choose. You can also progress from the one and do them as two separate stretches, so you're kind of easing into it with your 90 with the legs, and then come into your pigeon and do the same. And then we'll release from here. We'll do that on the other side. So we'll start off with that leg in 90 degrees, each leg in 90 degrees, and we'll come down onto that leg. So you've got this option. You can do them both, or you can just do one depending on your level of tightness, ability, flexibility. So we're pulsing down, chest coming towards this knee, keeping that 90 degrees in both legs, breathing all the time, of course. And once you've done your pulses, you just hold for your 10 to 30 seconds, whatever it is. Or you can shorten that if you want to, and you bring yourself to that full pigeon. So you're lengthening that leg behind. Again, you can tuck the toes and lift the knee for more intensity, or you just relax the knee and foot down. Entirely up to you. Knee in front. Don't let the foot come too close to your other leg. Try and bring that foot forward a little bit. You just hold yourself tall. Hips, shoulders, all facing forward, and you can just rock from side to side in this one. Just stretching through the hips, either side. You'll find that inside, on the outside, maybe through the back as well. Don't really arch your back here. Just try and keep a little tuck of your tailbone as you do this. You've got your pulses. You can just keep pulsing into this for about 10 to 30 seconds here. So we keep moving from side to side in this stretch. That's how I've been doing it, and it's been working an absolute treat and loosening up. Once we've done 10 to 30 seconds then with this one, and again you can choose between those two, or whether you do both, that's entirely up to you. The last two stretches I would do, the frog stretch, which can be a little uncomfortable, but what we do is just kneel, hands in front, and knees under hips, and then we just take those knees wide, and then the feet follow, and your toes point out. So you can see you've got that almost 90 degrees here, and your toes pointing outwards either side. Now go really gentle with this one because it can be quite uncomfortable. So what we're going to do is just relax as much as you can, taking those knees pretty much to your extent of how far you want to go with this. You can stay on your hands, or you can bring it down to forearms if you want to. And we're just going to gently push backwards and squeeze your knees in towards each other. And just pulse, even just 3 or 4 times, and then we can release and relax. And then we go back in and squeeze the knees and pulse just 2 or 3 times. I say you can do this whatever you prefer, hands or on elbows and forearms. 2, 3, 4 pulses and release and relax. And then we go back into this, squeezing knees. So like squeeze your knees into the floor as you just gently pulsing backwards. If it's not comfortable to pulse, just hold for maybe 10 seconds and release. But I'll do this 5 times. So I'll do 5 sets of 4 to 5 pulses, squeezing the knees together as we're pushing our bum back towards heels, completely relaxing as we come forward. Just get 1 more of these in, and then we'll get on to my favourite stretch to finish. And relaxing here. So we'll bring ourselves to a kneeling position for a hip flexor stretch. So this is great little routine. If you sit down a lot particularly, this is a very important stretch. So we want to be nice and tall through the upper body, shoulders roll, lengthen through your spine, hands on your hips, and we tuck the tailbone under. For me, that's an instant stretch here. Not everyone's going to feel that straight away. We then want to ease forward gently into this until you feel that stretch increase. You're squeezing your glute, your bum cheek, you're tucking your tailbone, and you're just easing forward. You can pulse into this one as well, sort of 12 pulses. And then we come out of that, just relaxing, pushing your bum back a bit. And then we're going back in. Same again, tuck your tailbone, squeeze your glute, gently coming into this. pulsing a little if you like. If you want to broaden that stretch, we'll take a rotation, opposite arm to that knee, and just continue to pulse if you want, or just hold and breathe, easing that hip flexor forwards. And after about your 10 to 30 seconds, you can just release and swap the legs over. So just swap those legs. Same again, roll your shoulders, make yourself really tall, hands on the hips, tuck your tailbone, feel that stretched up in those hip flexors. Squeeze your glutes, squeeze your bum cheek, ease gently forward, always go gently at first as we ease forward into that stretch. You can pulse gently into that if you like, or you just hold and gradually just ease forward. Again, if you're going to do 12 pulses and then a hold, that's fine. You do your pulses and then you hold for 10 to 30 seconds, whatever feels enough for you. Listen to your body. And then after that first set, we come out. We set ourselves up again. We go back into that stretch, feeling that stretch through those hip flexors. This is so important if you sit down. Tight hip flexors is one of the biggest causes of an anterior pelvic tilt, which causes issues with the back. Do take that rotation, that opposite hand to opposite knee. You can continue to pulse or just ease into this for your second set. Is about 10 to 20 to 30 seconds again. Running theme here. And then once you've done that, release. So yeah, those tight hip flexors, really big problem if you sit down a lot. They cause that anterior pelvic tilt. It can cause hamstring problems, calf problems, back pain, neck pain, even like problems with the ankles and the feet. So really important to stretch hip flexors like that if you sit down a lot. But that whole routine will be really, really helpful. I hope that is useful. I hope that helps your hips feel a bit looser, a little bit better. Please feel free to send over any questions or any feedback at all. And thanks very much for watching.